Smoking hot body.
I'm Jules McQueen.
And I'm Jana Waller.
And we want you
to stay gritty.
You got to shoot it for 500 arrows before you can make a decision. And I'm like, I don't walk 500 miles in boots that don't fit me.
Stumbles on his face.
We strongly suggested that they call it the Gritty Film Tour. They opted for the Full Draw Film Tour, so...
Everybody makes mistakes. Breakfast of champions, Snickers, and Diet Dr. Pepper.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
I just swallowed my gum.
Oh, no.
I just Randy Black Eagle.
That's it. Boom.
That's my...
That's how we roll. Just drop the mic and walk away.
Okay, friends, on this episode of Gritty Bowmen, we hang out with our Central Oregon friends, Randy and Candy Yow. Randy and Candy are not show names. They're real names. Randy and Candy have been on the show once before, and we had them back again because we like them so much. Randy and Candy are down-to-earth, cowboy and cowgirl cattle ranching type folks who love hunting. Together, they created a TV show called Extreme Desire TV. New episodes of their show will be shown on the Pursuit channel the third week of June on Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific time. But today's podcast isn't about their TV show. It's about a super cool event that Candy puts on that helps female hunters learn new hunting skills. The event is called the Northwest Ladies Hunting Camp, and it's awesome. The camp offers firearm training for pistol, shotgun, and rifle. You can learn archery, fire starting, field dressing, map and compass reading, backcountry safety, wildlife photography, self-defense, concealed weapon carry, and more. This camp is for the city slicker who has never been camping or the advanced hunter who wishes to learn some new skills. On this podcast, we talk about the camp. Krissy Hay Knox, Bowtech Ambassador, shares her experience being an instructor at last year's camp. And we hear from Asha Aiello. She's a relatively new female hunter, and she describes the barriers that some women feel about getting into hunting and how this camp can make the difference. Asha is the Tualtin Cabelas Marketing Manager and a major supporter of this women's camp. You can learn more about the camp online at ladieshunting.com. If you want to attend a camp like this, but can't make it to this year's camp, or the camp was sold out when you tried to register, send Candy Yow an email and tell her you want to go. Seriously, fill her inbox up with requests for a camp you can attend. Candy's email is candy@ladieshunting.com. If you like what Candy and Randy are doing, send them a note. Tell them thank you. And if you are in a position to support their work, give them what you can. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Bowmen podcast. We are here in the illustrious Gritty studio in Oregon City, Oregon. I'm here with Candy and Randy Yow from Extreme Desire TV. And you guys have been on the podcast before. We met at the ATA show in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Louisville.
Yep.
Which was a whirlwind for me. I met a lot of people, shook a lot of hands at that event. But so there's an earlier podcast where we met. Today, you guys were in town visiting from La Pine. That's where you live, right?
Yep.
So La Pine, and you were at the Cabela's Women's Day.
Ladies' Day Out, yeah.
Ladies' Day Out. And not too far from my house is the Tualtin.
Correct.
And so we were going to get together and discuss something that you've kind of spearheaded for a while now. This is your third year, and it's called the Northwest
Ladies Hunting Camp.
Ladies Hunting Camp. Okay, so before we get into that, though, I want people to kind of get a feel for who you guys are. Some people already know you because they've heard you on the podcast. Those who don't, we'll introduce them. I'm also here with Krissy Hay Knox, and I've actually watched Krissy on Facebook for years now. She's one of those gals that shoots a bow a lot, and I've seen you around Bowtech and seen the archery shoots, and so I want to get to know Krissy a little bit today. And you're an instructor at the ladies' camp?
I am. I'm an archery instructor. Yes.
Okay, so we'll get into that. And I'm here with Asha.
Correct.
Asha, what is your last name?
Aiello.
Say that.
Asha Aiello.
Aiello.
Yes, nailed it.
Like the letter ILO?
Yes, that's exactly how I explain it to everyone.
ILO. Sweet. Okay, and you are with Cabela's.
Correct. I'm the marketing manager of the Tualtin Cabelas.
Okay. So, let's get into it. So, Candy, tell us, who are you and what is it you guys do, you and Randy?
Well, I'm Candy Yow. My husband Randy and I have Extreme Desire TV, which is Western big game hunting, backcountry, do-it-yourself. Gets a little crazy at times, but it's all good.
Uh-huh.
And we just have a passion for the outdoors and helping others. And if we could just stay out there 24/7, we'd be pretty happy. But we got to work for a living.
So, Randy, how long have you known Candy?
6 years.
6 years.
Yep.
And how did that happen? How did you guys meet?
We met at her daughter's wedding. Her daughter set us up.
I remember this story.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I went there on the groom's side as basically a family member. Zach is just part of our family.
Yep.
And he married Liz, Candy's daughter, and I'd spent a week with them in Arizona one time just goofing around. So Liz got to know me, and so when I got there, she had us all set up. So it was a big scam.
I bet you were really struggling with that.
Yeah, no, it worked out well.
So, Candy, just out of curiosity, did you know that this was a setup? I mean, did you see the writing on the wall pretty early?
Sort of. Not really, but sort of. They drugged me over after I'd been riding horses all day and was completely dirty on the 4th of July, right before the wedding. They drugged me over to his house to watch the fireworks. So I had a pretty good idea because that was not the plan when I got in the vehicle.
So did they just kind of know you guys were going to be like a match made?
I guess.
Well, Liz thought so, but her
That's
daughter,
pretty neat.
but, no.
That is neat.
I always thought it was a good, I thought, well, if the daughter likes me well enough to introduce me to her mother, at least I'm
doing something
like
right.
They like me somehow. They were a little confused, but.
And Candy, were you always into hunting?
I've hunted my whole life, but we just did it for meat.
Yeah.
And then I grew up on large ranches, and it was us kids' job to go out and find the big bucks for all the hunters that came onto the ranch to hunt. So certainly not as a profession.
Yeah.
But I've trained horses and worked on ranches, so it's all sort of the same thing.
Well, it's not really a profession. It's still a hobby. Trust me.
Okay, a
we have to
full-time
work.
hobby.
We have a full-time job.
Or like a lifestyle.
All right.
So
yeah.
did you, were you an archery hunter, rifle hunter?
Just rifle, yeah.
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 All right. And Randy, you've been hunting since you were a kid?
Forever.
Forever?
My dad was an outfitter, so I grew up in it, and
Yeah.
I was just as far back as when I was 3 years old, I was chasing him around in the mountains and hanging onto his back pocket, and he'd climb up the mountains, and he didn't have any, he would leave you there if you didn't. My dad is tough, and he don't put up with nothing, so you better get tough or die, and that's the way it was. But yeah, I grew up in it, and it's been my life. And
So Randy, how old are you?
54.
54. About the same age as my dad, and little younger. I was just listening to a book today. Steve Ranella did his book Meat Eater.
Yes.
So I'm listening to the book, and he's talking about his dad. His dad fought in World War II, and he talked about being out there in a foxhole, with a dead German, and having to throw a grenade, or actually in the beginning it was just calling out artillery places where you're going to drop the bombs and stuff. Mm-hmm. You're not really connecting that you're killing someone. Then later he's actually
You give him the coordinates.
Yeah, and then later he's actually face to face in combat, and then Steve is talking about growing up, and you just. I also read another book on World War I recently, and I just think about that. There were some people back then that went through some pretty tough times, and then they raised kids, and they raised tougher kids. And Renella's talking about climbing this tree with different gear to screw in steps, and he gets to the top, and he's nailing some wood together and bolting things, and it sounded like a 100-pound stand with like chains that come-alongs and whatever else could get it in place. I just think about that. It's neat. As dads drag them out and take their kids out there hunting, but it was a kind of a different time than it is today. I try to make my kids tough, but I got to admit, they got it pretty easy. I mean, I'm trying to make it tough, but we just don't have a real tough lifestyle.
Yeah.
No, it's just how you're raised. I mean, and my daughters and stuff, they went with me since I was little too, and and now the grandkids, and they just go, and they spend all the time out there. They don't do the computer stuff that much. I mean, their lifestyle is just different. They're raised differently, so they spend more time outside and more rural.
Yeah, we just started before we started the podcast, my kids are down here, and they know I hate the TV, and so we mostly disconnected, or I take the cord, like they have to really negotiate to get to watch the TV. But, and we're not quite as rural as I'd like to be.
Right.
But I think it's so important that they get out and they experience those things, that they actually...
The real world.
Right, the real world. So now your show, Extreme Desire TV, it's family.
Yes, basically family, friends, whatever. Of course, we put in for tags all over the West. It's, backcountry, it's real. It's, we're not going and buying... We don't have the money to go, get these governor's tags and all that stuff. We apply like everybody else, and we go hunting.
And what I've heard about your show, what I like about your show is it's pretty, I don't know, it's just real. It's not over-commercialized, and which, I don't like to...
It's not smoke and mirrors. I mean, it's just real. It's what it is. It's not always perfect, but it's always real. That's what I always say. It's like, we go out there and realistically, you're not going to get the perfect kill scene every time and all that stuff. And I don't even worry that much about it anymore. Because people like it. They know
show is what
it's just it's just the way it is. We're running gun, and it's just not always going to work. Half the time, the equipment don't even work.
And it's not just rifle.
No, it's archery, rifle, muzzleloader, whatever we can get a tag for. And I'd say it's probably almost 50% archery right now, it seems like, but maybe a little less.
Candy, how often do you guys hunt with horses?
We do probably 2 or 3 hunts a year. Depends on what we draw, but we pack in quite a bit. Yeah.
And tell me about your background with horses. Like, when did you get involved with those? And
I can't remember. It was as long as I can remember I've been on horses. We just lived on huge ranches growing up, and it was our job, just like he got drugged behind his dad out there outfitting. I got thrown on a horse and we went and did our job all day. That's just what there was. So I started training when I was 20, and I trained right up until just the last couple of years.
So what made you, decide to do a hunting show? Because that's sort of like, I've filmed some hunts and I've made some hunting films. It's kind of like glutton for punishment.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like, it's a way better, easier, and not even have to worry about all that. Garbage. But I started filming stuff, years back, and then I've got all this footage, and I thought, I'm going to just put something together, and just, it's more of a hobby. It still is,
when I kind of embarked on this and the podcast, I was like, well, it takes a lot of time, and and I'd like to, be able to be paid for doing what I love to do. That's great. That's bonus. But if I don't, I was like, at the end of the day, I'm still going to have some really, like a whole inventory of video and podcasts and stuff that I am really proud of. That kind of is a body of work that I have,
Right.
And I liked that. So I decided, what's the risk?
Right, exactly. And that's what I even, I've looked at. Okay, I've got all these episodes or whatever, and this footage that, someday my kids and grandkids and whoever, they'll enjoy it, if nobody else does, But, I would love to make a living at it too. And I don't know if it's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But because I don't think people understand how it works. You don't get paid to be on TV.
Right.
You know, you actually pay, and you got to find the sponsors to help you. And it's tough. And
hunting TV, and it's a competitive market.
It is.
And
It really is.
one thing that I was a little jaded on hunting TV for a while, but then there's some shows like yours and others that I've grown to really like over the last few years. Cause sort of checked out for a good 10-year window where I'm like, I'm done with hunting TV. It's the same.
I'm the same way, and I still limit a lot of sources. It's like it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
You know, as far as what to do. I mean, it's not. If it's legal, let them. I don't care how anybody does it. It's just not my thing. So
Yeah.
you know, we're just.
It's not how I really wanted to hunting represented for me.
Correct.
And I felt too like, and I still do strongly, like I really want the non-hunter. Like as I do a podcast, I'm hoping that it appeals to both hunters and non-hunters, and that it influences that community that maybe is a little reluctant to get into hunting or has never done it or is just curious about it. That at some level, this might inspire or motivate them or give them a chance to try and do it. That's why.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
That's
You
why.
know.
Yeah, I think this Northwest hunting camp, ladies
Hunting camp.
ladies
Yeah.
hunting camp. It's going to be cool. It's cool because here's a chance for people who have no idea how to hunt, no idea. You know, just they're just not sure how to begin.
Where to even start?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I have taken for granted.
Yeah.
You know, obviously, but when you like the first time we did one, I mean, where do you even start? Not just for women, even.
Well,
but
you take it
anybody.
for granted
But-
what you know, right? Like,
right, and so people don't even know. You know, it's like today at Cabela's, Scott Hoggan was showing them how to gut a fish. I'm like, oh, I just assumed, but it's not true. You know, I mean,
Right.
people don't know
They
where
don't
to
know.
start, and it's cool.
intimidating if you don't. When I started the podcast, in the beginning, we had some episodes like "What's in your backpack?" and what food do you take when you go? What first aid kind of equipment or some basic wilderness survival. How do you start a fire? Right. Well, a lot of this stuff, it's like I took for granted. It's just everybody knows it. I grew up with it. I was in Boy Scouts. My dad taught me. He took me hunting. I shot a bow. But as I started to publish the shows and I got all the emails coming in, I realized, especially Western hunting, there's quite a bit of fans we have or listeners we have on the East Coast that just want to know what a backpack hunt is like and how to do it. Those are things I sort of took for granted. I've been doing backpacking even as a Boy Scout and as a Boy Scout leader for years, and then just as a hunter and just a recreationist, just doing that stuff all the time, all through college. That I just assumed everybody knew how to do it, and I've learned that that's not the case.
No, I mean we get so many people from back east and down south and all that. Their goal in life is to come out and do a Western hunt of some sort, whether it's packing on your back or packing with horses or whatever. Just so many people they want to try it. It's an experience of a lifetime for them that they. I had a guy and he goes, well, he doesn't, when he's right, because he goes, I don't even know if I come out there, I can't bring all the gear I need.
Yeah.
If I want to do this on my own, he goes, and I can't get my meat back. I mean, there's so many variables. Like it's pretty tough. They're going to have to commit some major time to really do it. If they want to do it on their own.
If I think about some things in the past where I didn't have any idea how to do it, so I just didn't. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do it. Finally, I really wanted to fly fish. I didn't grow up with any of that. Just never did it. And there was at college, and there was a fly fishing club. So I joined the club, and they were like, we were out in the grass, casting at the school and, and hanging out. And then we went on a big group fishing trip, and I learned a few things. And then pretty soon I was out there doing it on my own. After having done it, I realized I could have just grabbed a rod and just figured it out over time. But I let the whole I don't know how to do it thing hold me back. But it definitely helped having like a club, you know, and people teach me. Like I'm sure the learning curve was much less steep, you know, with that kind of help.
Imagine if you were a woman, though, and you have no idea where to start. You have no idea who to ask. And the people you do know how to ask give you this look like, all right, you know. So we have no fear necessarily of going out and doing it, but sometimes it's figuring out, can I do it alone?
Right.
You know, can I, if I get out in that river, like, do I have waders? Like, I mean, where do you even go to figure that out? And I think that's one of the most exciting things about the ladies hunting camp is you don't have to feel like that alone. There is no loneliness anymore. There's this group camaraderie that says, I'm not alone, and it's okay to ask this what feels to me like silly questions. It's okay to ask because these people are here to ask the silly questions too. So there is no subject that's taboo.
Yeah. My buddy Mark Brownlee, you know, I introduced him, my Scottish friend, into hunting. He'd wanted to do it for decades, but just didn't know, you know. And then we got a bow, we went out and we did it, and it's like, and now he's, you know, he's hardcore. But it's so intimidating at first.
And the other thing, that's where I think ladies are way better at not being afraid to ask, where guys got their ego. And so it's like, you know, we can't ask that stupid question.
Well,
I always let him say that part.
And it's the truth.
No, you're absolutely right.
These gals impress me at this camp. Like, wow. You know, and they're all friends, and they'll help each other in any way. And guys run around like, you know, they're not.
Nobody's talking to anybody.
Nobody's going to over help the other guys. Like, you're going to suffer. Just like I did it. And, I mean, I don't know. You know, but that's the way they. And so I'm very impressed with how these ladies do it. And that's what I think is cool is don't be afraid to ask anything.
Yeah.
Any question. I'm not going to sit around and spout off. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a real boisterous guy, but I will help you any way I can, you know.
Yep.
And that's what's cool.
What did you spend an hour today or more with one woman who owned a winery or vineyards in New Zealand and was up here for work, and she wants to learn how to bowfish. So Randy spent an hour with her, I think.
Yeah, we just hung out and teaching her, you know, I didn't teach her nothing, but she had fun, and she's going to buy a bow, and she's going to play around.
Hooked.
Yeah, she's hooked. That's awesome.
That is cool. So, Krissy.
Yes.
So how long have you been involved with this camp?
This last year was actually my first year instructing at the camp, and I had heard about it the first year. It made waves in our area anyway, and it got attention, and I got invited to come instruct, and of course I jumped on it. And when we showed up there, it was instantly just like a huge camp. I mean, like I told Candy, by the end of the weekend, the line between instructors and students had dissipated. It was gone. It was just a bunch of women learning from each other. I mean, me as an archery instructor took other courses on things that I didn't know how to do and vice versa. So it was a safe place, a safe learning environment. The intimidation factor was gone.
Yeah.
And it was just a bunch of friends learning from each other and learning together.
So just to kind of backtrack a little bit, how long, like how many people can come to this camp?
Well, it's growing every year, but the property where we have it is a beautiful, beautiful. It's Lucky Mute Valley pheasants right along the river, and we camp. All the ladies camp out, and I think we're probably maxed out this year.
But you can only do 50 to max 60 people, you know, and really get all the classes done properly.
Because you got your instructors too, so. It's like I said, it's growing so fast and things are changing so fast. I don't know where it's headed. I just know we're not going to let it go.
Yeah.
So, but 50, I would say 50 to 55, we're going to have to shut it off.
Okay. So how can people get enrolled? How can gals get enrolled that want to?
Super easy. You just go to ladieshunting.com and the registration's right there. And all the classes are up now. They can't register for their classes yet. They can register for the camp itself. And then probably by next week, they can start going through when each class is held, and they can go ahead and fill out their schedule.
And it's ladieshunting.com.
Correct.
Okay. And what kind of classes can they get into at this? And how many days is it?
It's 2.5 days. It starts June 10th, but we'll probably only have classes in the afternoon on Friday, and then it's all day Saturday and Sunday. So it's June 10th through the 12th.
Okay, so like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. And so tell me, what classes are we?
It's exciting. So we offer pistol, rifle, shotgun, and archery as far as your shooting. And like I said, I do bring in the best. We have almost the entire Bowtech pro staff ladies there to teach. We have Jennifer Holbrook, who's a national competitive shooter for the pistol and the rifle class. And then we have April Mack with ODF&W, who is awesome for shotgun. Then we're bringing in a new class this year. Sharon Preston has that simulated shooting with an actual real rifle, but it's like almost like, I don't want to say video game, but it's a huge big screen.
Oh yeah.
And the animals move, and so she can actually take time and show them safe, effective shots, quartering away, quartering to, or even have them move slow, and they can actually, so that's cool. I'm excited about that.
It reminds me of like the techno shoot.
Hunt.
Yeah. Techno Hunt. That's right.
So that's going to be sort of cool too. And then we have Heather Aldrich is going to be what to put in your pack. There again, we have everybody from never picked up a gun or hunted to some pretty advanced. Okay. But a lot of people are wanting, what do you need to have in your pack for safety and for comfort?
Preparedness.
While you're out all day. So, and then she's going to do bear hunting 101. So that's going to be a new class this year. That'll be fun. We have Michelle Bodenheimer, who's been there every year. She's amazing, and she's going to do turkey hunting 101, and then dog training for any of those that want to, learn how to train their puppies to do any of the hunting.
Okay.
Randy's going to be doing the orienteering class with two of his camaraderies, I guess I want to say. They have a hoot up there, I think.
Get the ladies lost.
The same thing. There's a lot to learn there. You use compass, maps, and the GPS.
Yeah.
But
just taking the basics of orienteering.
Okay.
Obviously, very basic.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of fun.
Backup.
Very cool.
The GPS don't always work, but
sure.
That. And then we do a quick quartering video.
Demonstration.
Quick quartering demonstration on how to take care of game in the backcountry. So I bring
how
in
to
a
handle
hog.
the meat and
I bring in a hog that's still got the skin on it stuff, and then I show them how we skin it, how I quarter it up out there, bone free, basically, to a sense, and
we let the
basically
ladies help.
just fillet it out. So it's how to get it.
Eat it.
We do.
Not right there, but
we take it home.
We
and
do
we eat
eat.
it. Yeah.
Nice.
We do eat it. Yeah, it don't go to waste. Trust me.
No. Okay.
And then Randy and I are also going to do. Christy Titus was supposed to be there this year. She was there last year, but she had some things come up, and she did just your basic elk hunting, calling, all of that. So we put together a class. We're going to do a scouting, elk hunting, and calling class.
Okay.
We did bring in a little lady last year, Sheena Williams, and she does self-defense. And, at first I wasn't sure it really fit in, but she's amazing, and all the ladies loved it.
I would say, I don't know, like going out in the woods solo. We did a podcast with Rihanna Carey, and she was talking about the elk she shot last year. But there's that moment where she's in the woods alone, and she bumps into a stranger.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's a little bit of discomfort there,
Sure.
And so I would say, having just, self-defense seems absolutely appropriate, something just to know. I mean,
it's good,
Absolutely.
and that's for especially, for the ladies, because I don't even think about the wild animals. They don't bother me in the least. But people, I always I'm watching them.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just pay attention. Because this day and age, there's some strange folks.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't worry too much about the animals either. It's other people.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And especially for the ladies. So now it's like, okay, just be aware.
Yep.
So
okay, so some self-defense. Are you going to do that this year too?
Yes.
Or?
Yep. Sheena will be back teaching that, and I feel like I'm forgetting some. One of the other things that's super fun is Saturday night we have a barbecue, and we have an outdoor fashion apparel with concealed Carrie fashion show.
Cool.
It's really fun.
It was fun.
That sounds cool. Actually,
These girls get the giggling.
You eat good at this event
right,
too.
The food is all provided. Everything's included basically, except you got to bring your own camping gear, whether it's in a tent or RV or whatever you want. But
yeah, that was my next question. So, ladieshuntingcamp.com or ladieshunting.com, and the food is there. But do they bring their own tents, their own place? Yeah. Whatever their accommodations are. And so is there room to park a camper or a trailer? Or so there is that, and then otherwise you can set up a tent. That's fine.
Yep. There is a bed and breakfast about 5 miles away, and we have had a few people stay, but most of them, they want to participate in the camping is part of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
They're there for the whole experience.
Yeah.
So
that I remember if I'm going to be at an event like that, it's really nice to not have to leave, because that's when some of the best stuff happens.
Absolutely.
There was a couple ladies last year that went in and stayed in, and then they come back and they're hearing all of that stuff that they missed.
Everything.
The after hours laughter.
Yep.
Or the early morning walks along the river.
A lot of where the bonding takes place.
Yeah.
So what's cool about this as well, in my mind, I'm thinking, is not only do gals get to learn a lot of things, but I imagine that this is a great networking opportunity as well.
Yeah.
So you'll walk away with maybe some new hunting partners, someone to go on a turkey hunt or a bear hunt or an elk hunt down the road.
Or just to get
friendships.
advice from. I mean, a lot of these women.
Dating
we
advice.
Whatever, borrow a cup of sugar. But these are women that are now friends, whether they, come back for a repeat year.
Yes.
We talk to them either through social media or email or phone calls.
So tell me, Krissy, any friends that you've made through this event that...
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the instructors, I met Candy through that event. And then Rihanna, of course, I've been friends with for a long time. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the girls that came through our archery station, I'm still in contact with regularly. One of the girls that actually won the Ivashaki bow last year, I mean, she called it from the first day. She goes, "I'm winning that bow. You're going to draw my name." And by goodness, she did.
Is it just a raffle kind of thing?
Yes, and I mean, she was confident, I'm going to win this, and she did. And I've been in contact with her a lot, and her journey has been amazing. Her and her sister came. She'd never shot a bow, had no experience with the outdoors, I mean, she knew nothing, and she was openly willing to admit that. And she asked questions all weekend about hunters, asking about antis, and just she wanted to know, so she could form her own opinion. And by the end of it, she walked away with that bow, and she's been shooting it ever since. I think she may have even actually gone on her first hunt, but I mean, she's fully equipped to go hunting now. She practices all the time. She's always posting pictures, trying to get other girls involved. I'm pretty sure she's probably gotten a few to sign up this year as well. So
that's neat.
She's been a really cool story to follow.
What's her name?
Her name is Delaney Bolin.
Delaney Bolin.
Yeah.
That's neat. That's really neat. Candy, what about you? Anybody?
Oh, yeah. I think probably, and this goes back to the show, too, one of the things that I love to share so much is I sometimes, when we're out there and an elk's bugling in your face or you're watching something that no one's ever seen, I get to feeling guilty. Like the world is missing out, that we're, the ultimate favorites or something because we're allowed to see and share this.
Yeah.
And so when you can share either through a show or, for instance, in this camp, where they can get out and actually be a part of what some people take for granted, but that God's creation to me is just blows me away. And I just want everybody to feel that. And to have these ladies go out and actually go on their first hunt and harvest an animal and come back and talk about that, it just melts my heart. It's all worth it right then, And then, like she says, the camaraderie and the friendship. We are just like one big family. It's kind of fun.
That's cool. So where would you like to see this?
Oh, wow.
I mean, if you could have it your way, like, what do you want this to be?
I would love to do that. And I'm just throwing this out there. This is way out there, but I would love to do it full time as a job. I mean, we've got 4 for sure wanting to happen next year. 2 in Oregon, 1 in Canada, and 1 in Utah.
Wow.
And I haven't told a soul.
That's
so
cool.
I think you could take them to every state. I really think you could.
I was going to say, I think there'd be a lot of demand for that. I remember going to Full Draw Film Tour film school. I wanted to make a hunting film, right?
Yeah.
And I had all this footage. I had my Sony Handycam, and I was trying to figure out how to make a better film. How to edit it from recording it to editing it to producing it, the whole thing. And I couldn't. I YouTubed some stuff, and I looked online, and then Full Draw, Cody Kellum said, "Hey, we're going to have a school down here in Bend, and it's just 2 days." I could not believe what I learned in 2 days. I learned so much in just 2 days, which gave me 10 times the confidence that I had before those 2 days of instruction. But more than that, and I think the most influential part of that entire weekend was the friendships that I made and the confidence I gained from that weekend. And then I went out and I filmed a bunch of things, and I made a movie, and I put it in a Full Draw Film Tour, and people liked it. And it's like, I did it.
Yeah.
And it was all sparked really caught fire from that 2-day school. Mm-hmm. And I met Christy Titus there, mm-hmm. and we were in the same class. And she and I, did some commercials and stuff together. And it was just a blast.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And those kind of events, I think, if I could do it every year, if they put that school on, I would go to multiple ones because it was just such a fun weekend to hang out, meet people, be creative, make films. It was just my thing.
Yep.
And same. This school sounds like it has that same kind of feel. I wouldn't be surprised to see it do that. One of my questions is, how are you making this happen? Because it costs money.
Yeah.
Costs volunteers, maybe.
That's all it's been so far as volunteers. Obviously, it's not a money-making proposition. The only way it can ever continue on is you're going to have to get people that sponsor it and try to help. Want it to happen. Because it's $299,
It's $299, so $300 with
includes all your
meals.
And, everything else. And so it's not obviously not a money-making proposition, but we want to do it, and I don't mind. We can do one a year. We'll always will do, but there's a point where we can't just.
Totally.
It's just too much work, as you know how much work it is to do anything else. It just takes a lot of time and effort to put one on, let alone 4.
But we don't want to really raise the price either. We want these ladies that want to attend to be able to come. And we did set up OHA, our Bend chapter, gave us some money this year for scholarships, and they were gone like in a week. It went so fast because the same thing she was talking about, Delaney got in a terrible accident this winter and was not where, she couldn't work for a short time, and she wanted to come back to this camp so bad. So, thank goodness that we had these scholarships to help a few of these ladies out.
So do you think, if you get a huge demand for these I know my schedule. It's packed. Mm-hmm. Sounds like 50 people is not enough. If you have 50 or 60 people, we could publish this podcast, and there could be a lot of people going, "Hey, Candy, where's my class? We're booked."
Right. No,
do they got to wait till next year, or is there something? Is there a possibility of like a, not to pressure you guys, but like a pre-sign up for if you're really interested, something where people could sign up for because it would be cool if there was a place where you could go and say pre-order in a way.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And say, hey,
sure,
I would go if there was another one. I'd go this summer if there was another one. Mm-hmm. I'll go next fall or next summer, next spring if there is one.
Can't do fall because we're hunting.
True.
Fall is out.
That just slipped out. I just thought fall. But you know what I mean?
Yes. No, I do know what you mean, and I hear it all the time. I get emails all year long from ladies. I can't. My sister's getting married. I can't go that weekend. Do I have to wait another year?
Do we have a alternative?
Yeah, because I get really excited about these things. Raised Hunting, the Holder family, they do their archery camp for youth, and that's just super cool.
Yeah.
Those things are just they make a difference in communities and people's life. They are pivotal moments sometimes for certain people. I remember going to scout camp and having it be like a pivotal growth moment for myself, right? You know, it's like you go out and you just learn things and experience things, and you're pushed to grow. So, anyway, I just say keep on doing it, but
I would like to. You know, I'd like to say that we could have another one later this summer, but I think this camp is going to tell us a lot. We've got some super big sponsors coming on board that want to help, not just with product.
Yep.
I know these ladies understand it, but in the past it's always been shrink it and pink it and hand it to a lady.
And that was a question I was going to ask Asha, like, because Cabela's is involved. How did that happen? And why?
How could it not happen? Would be my question. So Dan Baraldo in Springfield, I came on about a year ago. Dan's the marketing manager down there, and was fortunate enough to work with Candy and Randy and Krissy, and kind of alert me to it last year. And actually, I don't know that I've ever mentioned this to you, Candy, but we became friends 3 years ago on Facebook because I was interested in attending before I even did this job. Yeah, that was funny. So for me particularly, if we have time for a little bit of background, I have not hunted my whole life. I've only hunted 6 or 7 years. And the first 2 was just me figuring out how to get my attitude right, to be 100% honest with you, and how to suck the ego down and listen to my husband.
Yeah.
So I am relatively new to all of this. I've tried to hunt one new animal a year, learn the style, learn how to hunt. And I'm a waterfowl hunter and big game hunter. And so for me, this is completely new. I started to dip my toe into the water, if you'll pardon the pun, with fishing. But this is all new to me. So when I found out there was a ladies hunting camp, I'm like, all right, how do we do this? And when do we do it? And let's do this. So for us, Dan had been kind enough to support it. But when I came on, it was a matter of, all right, Candy, what am I doing for you? How do we do this? And then I was fortunate enough right around the same time to find out all of them became some of my pro staffers that I got to work with. So then it was just a natural, how can I support this more? What can I do to make sure this happens? They already have some amazing sponsors, just individually, companies that totally walk the talk, put their money where their mouth is, and support their consumers and their lifestyle. But I was glad to just kind of sign on to that. So now it's a matter of, how do I help you grow it? How do we give ladies more accessible options? And for me personally, how do I get more ladies involved? I was one of them that was terrified. I had no idea how to do any of this. It's still a little terrifying. But now that I had gone through, I've met these amazing women, and Randy, of course. But these amazing women. These amazing women who, how do you get to know other women in the outdoors? How do you have somebody look at you and go, I have those same questions? Yeah. So it's a personal passion of mine, even if I wasn't involved in Cabela's. This is just a vehicle that I get to use to support it.
From your position, I mean, what kind of... what have you observed in women in hunting?
We're very determined, but a lot of times we don't know where to start, and we will ask more questions. We are definitely the more intentional, I would say, and I don't mean this to be offensive to either gender, but men will come in and say, I need this, 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 and this. Women will come in and buy very specific things and be a lot more almost thoughtful and prepared. And I think you and I, Randy, were having that conversation when you were talking about the field dressing class, is the amount of questions and the amount of intention that women seem to show when they want to take on a new hobby. We don't tend to look at things like, I'm going to do that, kind of. We do it, especially when it has something to do, with guns or with bows. We're going to do it intentionally. We're going to do it well because we really want to. And then the thing that I find personally fascinating about this particular area, our metro area, is almost that middle ground we were talking about earlier of the people that are not sure whether they want to do something, but they find the thought of harvesting their own food so appealing that it really has driven them to go, well, maybe this hunting thing isn't so bad after all.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's one thing I've seen with the ladies, and I know you're the kind of guy that would feel like the same as I do. When I harvest something, I have full respect for that animal. Yeah. It's not like I'm hooting and hollering and, I'm happy, but I'm also sad in a sense, but I'm happy. And now I'm going to take care of this animal, and every bit of this meat's coming out, and it's going to come out in good condition. You know what I mean? Yep. And that's why I've done some videos on taking care of animals and this quick quartering stuff, because I've seen so much stuff get wasted out there. I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Don't even pull the trigger, don't release the arrow, or whatever. If you don't really want to take, it's not just a game. It's real.
Yes.
And I don't think we're softer. I'm not saying that, but I think you take that. I mean, he does have the utmost respect and appreciation for an animal, but at times I think I have even more, and I don't know if it's the mothering instinct or if I'm not really sure what it is, and I notice that most of the women do, and I talk about that a lot at the camp because I want to ingrain that in the ones that haven't harvested an animal, but it becomes very emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when they take their own food, and when you're cooking up your elk steak or your buck steak or whatever, like. It's pretty satisfying. You harvested this, you took it. I mean,
well, and there's so much debate right now about where our food comes from and what's in it or what's not in it, and organic. And I mean, that's probably a whole other series of podcasts. Right. But it's really to come home and know that, I'm sure for Krissy, feeding both you and your husband, feeding your son,
absolutely
something where it came from. I mean, that completely changes your view of it. Really is a lifestyle at that point. It's not a choice. It's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. It is. And I love after you've come back and somebody you've helped get started, they'll tell you about their first time in the field, and half the time you expect them to say, I flung 5 arrows, didn't hit anything, or I lost one. Usually the story is, I had a great time, I had an opportunity, but I just didn't feel right about the shot. I was going to feel rushed, and they have the strength to not take that shot because of the confidence you've given them, and that always impresses me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I hear that a lot, and I don't know if that's the mothering instinct, wanting to make sure you do things right and you don't want to injure something.
Yeah.
But it's impressive to me.
It's really interesting to me because I've now with Gritty Bowmen, I've met and I've interviewed a lot of people, and I've yet to interview a woman that comes off a little callous or indifferent about the death of the animal. Every one of them has a lot more, not a lot more, but there's not one that comes off with that whole. It's just an animal. I killed it because I'm going to eat it. I'm not going to apologize for that. But I do run into that a lot with guys. They're like, "Hey, killed it. It's part of business. It's the business end of feeding my family, and it's practical. It's how I do it." And when we've been having these kind of discussions, because we have some podcast schedules here in the near future to discuss this topic, because hunting, to me, I love hunting, and there's the food part of it is the most important part to me by miles, and at the same time, I mean, I love the whole experience of it. But when I kill an animal, most of the time I have a sense. I feel a sense of loss. I feel something where I've done something very serious. I've taken the life of another animal. But I have friends, good friends, that love elk and deer and habitat and conservation, and they don't feel the same way when they kill that animal that I do. There's not that sense, that feeling of loss.
Right.
But I feel like almost all the women I've met, they do experience that. And hunting to me is, when I've heard this said before by multiple people, but it's only going to be a viable way of life as long as it's defensible to the non-hunter, as long as we can defend why we do it in a way that to the non-hunter, so they can see it as a noble and ethical thing to do. And so if we walk around and we say, it's just the business end of what I do to feed my family, and I don't care, I mean, sometimes you wound them, sometimes you don't, and that's not very that takes away from the whole our side of that argument. I do think it's very practical to hunt, to kill an animal, to eat it. It's part of being
the
human. The food
Absolutely.
chain.
But there's an emotional side to that too. You need to recognize
and recognize that not everybody sees it the way you do.
Right.
Exactly. There are some people I know that they have slaughtered 5,000 head of cattle. So it's become sort of part of, hey, this is just part of life.
Right.
And so I think, you've been around that enough. There's a disconnection, but there's a lot of us out there that live in a city or didn't grow up like that, or like with your camp, people who've never done it before at all,
right?
Who've never seen an animal killed.
You could turn them off real quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Really quick, especially even in a field dressing. You can turn that off real fast when you see what it really entails.
Yeah.
Well, now I was going to ask you on Cabela's, they do some really cool stuff where you guys have seminars and classes that are free. People can just go down to the local shop, at the store, or whatever, and they can learn how to cook bear. Right? Or gut fish. That's really neat. And what I love about it is it gives people an opportunity to connect with the food, which is universal. That's the part that I think is, at the end of the day, why have people been killing animals? To feed themselves,
Yeah.
And if that's how it's done, there are noble ways of doing it, and
yes,
and very bad ways of doing it.
I think too, when I think about that a lot, because that's something else that happens is, for some reason, the antis attack women harder.
They do.
I mean, I get death threats and horrible stuff. Yeah. It's horrible. So, but if you're out there, you're on a 10-day hunt, and you're getting up at 3 a.m. and you're hiking 2 hours in the dark to get as far back there as you can, and you're hunting all day long, and you're exhausted, and on day 7 or 8 or 10 or whatever, you finally, after chasing this thing, you connect and you harvest an animal. There's no greater feeling in the whole entire world. And it's just not even that. It's applying for the tag. It's the scouting. You put so much into this, and then to be able to put that in your, take it home and put it in your freezer and feed your family. I could go on and on forever on that one, but to me, it's ethical. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a part of life. It's a part of the circle of life, and it's beautiful, and that's what they were put there for.
And it's not just about the kill. I mean, I think if you'd ask most hunters, I know if you told me I'd never harvest another animal, I'd still be out there every September trying to get that bull to come even closer.
Sure.
It's the whole experience. That part of it's just the last 5 seconds.
I get just a big kick out of filming. I do.
Yeah.
You call in on a bull, and I'm sitting here with the camera. It's beautiful. It's wonderful.
We went out trail cam scouting with some friends, and they're urban folks.
Yeah.
And they were, they have 2 young daughters now, and they do a lot of hiking and stuff, but that's not the way they grew up, but they weren't harvesters. So we're out doing trail cam scouting, and we brought the mountain bikes out, and we jumped 20 cows. And the look on the husband's face is something I will never forget to this day. He didn't know what they were. So to watch him be completely just the wonderment that crossed his face. This is the middle of the day in Timber, Oregon, like whatever. I mean, this is not some major stalk and hunt. But just to watch the wonder on his face, on the excitement of seeing something you don't see, I'd be out there right with you. I'd be like, whatever, we're not going to catch anything. But you know what? I will stalk whatever it is just to get as close as I possibly can.
I remember when I took Mark Brownlee out, and we're driving around. I'm like, hey, come with me on this elk hunt. And he's like, okay. So he gets in, we go, and we're up there, and we hunt 3 days, and we don't see an elk. And so he's like, are there really elk around here? And what do they look like? What do they sound like? I mean, he's seen some pictures, but he's like, they're like a red stag, right? Like Scotland's stag, And I'm like, well, yeah, but so we drive around. Finally, we see a herd, and I'll never forget, like, the heart racing, the excitement, and they're screaming. These bulls are screaming, and it was like he got so pumped, and and I gave him some instructions. I'm like, careful, they can see. We don't want to, don't move, but stay right here, and I'm going to circle around, and then he proceeded to like freeze for like 45 minutes, take like one little step at a time. So they were like a mile away. It's like Mark, they're not like eagles.
You'll get there next Tuesday.
Yeah, and he's like, well, how am I supposed to know? But he was so excited that he didn't want to screw it up. But he's binoculars. He's watching, and I take that for granted because I grew up with it since I was a little kid.
Right.
And to introduce someone to that, it just feels really good.
Oh, it does.
I was a mess the first buck that I got. My husband takes me out. It's my own tag. I'm all proud of myself, And it was day 8 of my 8-day hunt, and man, I was tired. We put like 45 miles on our boots. I was exhausted. I mean, again, this was blacktail, so not elk, but I mean, and I missed a 4x3 who he dared me. I mean, he right in front of me, broadside. I'm shaking so bad I can't get the safety off the gun. So about 45 minutes later, I got a fork, and I was out there for the meat, and I am more proud. I got mad at the butcher because we brought it in. He's like, "Oh, whose little deer is this?" And I will tell you that I almost went just completely crazy on this guy because I'm like, "Do you understand what I just went through for this?" I mean, I was really unnecessarily angry. Yeah. But I still remember like how he tasted and everything because. Yeah. And a mess. I sobbed for 10 minutes after I missed the first one. I had to like get my head right again. But even walking around here and the turkeys out feeding and not wanting them to bust us, like it's just to experience. Those are the kind of memories that I have with my husband. That how many people have those kinds of memories? How many couples? How many women get to experience that with each other?
Well, and I think there's just something special about eating. Like a fish you caught versus a fish I buy at the store.
Oh, it tastes so much better.
There's some sort of like, it just feels right in a way that the store one doesn't.
Occasionally I make sure that when we both get an elk that we put our initials on it because I know mine's better than his.
You know it.
Oh my gosh, I thought I was the only one that did that.
No.
I remind him too when he says, "Oh, this is so good." Yeah, that one had my initials on it, honey.
Well, I wanted to find out, I had a friend of mine, Jeff Pizzito from Sitka Gear, on talking about 2% for conservation. That's a nice ring.
You've just been waiting for that, haven't you?
I thought I turned it off.
That's funny.
Too great.
And his organization, he's trying to help the consumer identify, those companies that give back, that are involved in conservation, and 1% for donations, and 1% is for time, like volunteer time that companies give, and create awareness. This sort of thing is really neat as well in the way that it gives back, because it brings new hunters into the hunting community and educates and especially in the realm where women are coming over, because as much as I want to represent hunting, I'll never be able to do it quite the same way that my wife can, simply because and part of the reason that you experience a lot more intense anti-hunter, I think it's in proportion to how threatened they are by a female hunter versus a male hunter. It's hard to say to a mom of a few kids that she's a knuckle dragging caveman that doesn't care about life and is just a killer, right? It's like it's kind of hard to put that on on Krissy, right? It just doesn't fit. And so I think there's a genuine threat that they feel from that. So I want to know what companies are supporting this.
Yes.
Who's behind this that gets it and sees it? Because I would like to see others in the hunting community support those companies.
You bet. I'm really proud of what we've got. We have Benchmade on board, and they've been from the very beginning. We do a whole lot of door
They're right
prizes.
Here in Oregon City.
Yes, they are. Yeah, no.
In fact,
Matt,
there'll be
he's coming down, and he's going to talk about the knives real quick. And
awesome.
And then, obviously, they'll participate. The ladies actually get out there and use their knives to help skin and quick quarter the hog that day. We have Leopold.
Okay.
So, and they're going to be there too. 2 of those ladies are attending the camp, and their products will be there for door prizes. Most of these women are going to walk away with way more value in what they win than they paid to get into this.
The
camp.
prizes are insane.
Yeah. And then I'll talk about a couple others, and then I'm going to let Krissy announce one of them too.
Those prizes are awesome because, I won a bunch of stuff at the Full Draw Film School too, and it just kind of helps offset the cost of attending, but also it's like, now I got this, now I got to go. It's like motivating to get out and do it.
But Benchmade gives a few knives and
Leupold's going to give optics, and we'll use them out in the orienterian, the spotting scopes and the rangefinders and everything. And then this year we picked up, I'm so excited about this, we've got Weatherby. And they just released on Mother's Day their brand new ladies Camellia Weatherby rifle. And I picked it up at the SHOT Show, and it just, oh my gosh, it feels so good. So not only there's 4 of them coming out to attend, 4 ladies from Weatherby coming to attend, they're bringing the rifles to shoot with Leupold optics, and they're giving away a brand new Camellia.
Wow. Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. Very cool.
So, and we've got tons of sponsors. We've got Coast Product will have some stuff there. Slumberjack's going to have some things there. Onyx Maps, they always send lots of good stuff. So we've got a lot of people, but some of these sponsors, Mountain Ops is going to be there this year. All the ladies are going to get a sample, and I believe Rihanna and I are going to talk about it. So that'll be cool. We've just got some great people right here.
Yes, yes. As well as it went last year, we are going to be giving away a Bowtech Shocky to one lucky lady again.
Nice.
And so if Delaney wins this one, I don't know what we're going to do. So we're really excited about that.
Cool.
Absolutely.
And Cabela's obviously gives lots of different things.
Yeah, we're working with them too. I come in, my favorite way to come in and help is figuring out what they don't have and how I can best support that. Is it putting something in every lady's hand? Is it getting, they do have a lot of the bigger stuff. So I'm working with Candy, Randy, and Krissy to figure out what it is that I can support them with. We've talked about compasses for the orienteering. We've talked about helping with cash for scholarships. So anything that they need to make sure that camp is fully successful, whether that's outfitting gear that they can come back and use to teach year after year, but enabling
them to be successful, keep doing the school.
Keep doing the school, but then being able to put those products in the hands of women, because it's not just about the motivation, it's about that's one less thing I have to worry about. I already know you've got Leupold, you've got the best.
Yeah.
You've got Benchmade, that's what I use. I won't live without a Benchmade knife.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't use my new Benchmade knife. I was doing something with it. My husband asked me, and I said, I'm not going to use it until I get my first buck. And I got my first buck and was able to, I skinned it, I gutted it, I did the whole 9 yards. And so it's one less thing you have to worry about is getting good quality stuff. You don't have to compromise.
Just like having faith in your instructors and confidence in your instructors, having the equipment that, fits them first and foremost, but just equipment you can have confidence in and send them away knowing you've not only given them the lesson, but here's what you need.
And it's vetted by other women. It's
Absolutely.
And the men that love us, Randy. But it's vetted by women that have said, I've used it. I understand what it feels like in my hands against my shoulder.
Yep.
And putting it on my back. It's not, I love my husband dearly, but what works for him doesn't always work for me.
Yeah.
And so even if you do start hunting with a spouse, sometimes it's harder to look at it and go, well, I have the bow tuned to this weight for you. Well, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So to go to this and have the opportunity to practice, have the opportunity to go, this is really vetted by women. We've designed it for you. We've had it in our hands. We've used it.
Yeah.
I mean, where else do you get that kind of experience?
Those are some neat companies.
They are
great companies.
And they really are stepping up. Like I said, not just shrink it and pink it. They're making it so that it's comfortable. Some of the clothing companies, Proas, Cryptek's coming out with a brand new women's line, and we will be one of the first people to have it. So we're going to have it at the ladies' camp.
Cryptek will be there too, and
Under Armour.
Aaron with Kafaru, he's recently started sponsoring us too. He's a great guy and great company, and
makes the pack so it fits you, not just what's on the shelf. It fits you and it works.
What about food? You got any food companies out there?
I wish we did, because I think we do
need to
it.
get some. No grill companies or
we're
anything.
The chief cook and bottle washers too. It's just nonstop work.
We have we're slowing down, except for stuff like this. We have a catering business too. So first year we just stepped up and said, well, obviously we'll do the cooking.
Thing.
And so and then we do some Dutch oven cooking. We bring in some people that do some Dutch oven cooking, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah, just kind of
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Just to watch and you can,
I love food, dude. I really love food.
The food's good.
Well, some of these things, like the demonstration, they're not necessarily a class,
Yeah.
but in the evenings or when everybody's here, we'll, put on other demonstrations for certain things. Just so we can, like the Dutch oven cooking's kind of going on, so they can watch and see how Robert's doing it and this and that. Because
I'm a sucker for like meat eater not because the hunting's particularly that good. Sorry, Steve, but the food part is awesome. Like, just, all the different ideas on how to cook it and stuff, trussing a bird with wire onto like a thing and roasting it. I mean, there's just some fun stuff in the field cooking, but as well as at home. And I'm a sucker for that stuff. And so, got to get some food guys on there. Like some.
I agree.
Bring the hunting full circle.
Exactly.
I'm surprised
And we've
Tiffany
actually talked about.
Yeah.
She was booked, or Tiffany would be a part of
dang
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we
Tiffany
bring our
Haugen was
big-
part of our
Yeah.
Tiffany Haugen was part of our Ladies Day Out today. She usually is part of my events up here. We were just
She's got all the cookbooks,
I live by her
bear
cookbooks.
recipes, and
I live by her cookbook.
She's amazing.
she's got some cool stuff. Very neat. So, for people who want to stay in touch or see your TV shows, follow you guys, Extreme Desire TV. What channel? What network?
it's going to be airing starting the third week of June or something like that on the Pursuit channel.
So a few weeks from now.
On Friday evenings, 8 o'clock.
On the Pursuit channel, Friday evenings, 8 o'clock.
Yep. On the West Coast.
West Coast, right.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
we're on the West Coast.
So.
Well, I only talk in my time. Everybody else has to figure it out. I only know what time it is
Pacific time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And we are learning the social media so they can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Extreme Desire TV,
What's
on
your?
all those.
It is.
Or
So it's,
Randy and Candy Yow, too. We have our own
Okay.
stuff,
Yeah.
too.
But on Instagram, it's
Extreme Desire TV.
Extreme Desire TV.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Randy and Candy. Yeah, well, they're individual
Randy and
people.
Candy.
Yeah.
Easy.
I know.
Randy or Candy.
And Krissy, how can people follow you?
I'm also on Facebook and Instagram. Krissy Hay Knox is both. My brother Ryan Hay is my hunting partner, and if you see me, you usually see him. So we're usually doing things together. And I also have
How do you spell that? Krissy.
Krissy, Krissy,
Hay.
Hay, Hay, Knox, Knox.
Okay.
Yeah, and I have it's Krissy K Bowtech Ambassador page that I do a lot of tips and tricks and more of the archery related stuff as well. So
cool.
I'm just myself, so Asha Aiello. I'm both on Instagram and Facebook. I get the pleasure of sharing a lot of what they do. So not only what they're sharing, but also the stuff that we do together in store off-site. So we'll do off-site events. Candy and Randy went to the Women's Expo with me. So Instagram, some of our adventures there.
So how do people stay involved in what's going on in their local Cabelas?
Cabelas.com/Tualtin or whatever store happens to be closest to you. So if you're Springfield, Cabelas.com/Springfield. We have full events calendars up there.
Okay.
And that's it. We do ads and TV spots and so on and so forth, but at the store level, we don't have a lot of control. However, we have control of our websites.
Okay.
So any event ever that's going on there, from women's archery classes to Ladies' Day Out to Memorial Day to Father's Day, all of that stuff is going to be on there.
What's coming up in the next couple of months that you're excited about?
The Hometown Heroes is one of my favorites. All the men in my family were veterans, so we get a chance to honor not only veterans but first responders, so police and military. So we're doing a 4-day event where we'll do some
very cool.
We'll do a flag raising ceremony and some other things to honor veterans and first responders. Father's Day is always so much fun. We also support the Oregon Waterfowl Festival. Unfortunately, for the second year in a row, I can't go to the ladies hunting camp because
that's why we need
more.
That's
It's
why
the
we need
same
more.
weekend.
Yeah, it's always that one weekend.
Yep.
Well, those are a couple things I'm really excited about. And then I think my favorite time of the year, because I'm probably like anyone else, is fall. So August is our huge Fall Great Outdoor Days, and we have so much fun. I don't even feel like I work in August.
That's cool.
I just hang out with a bunch of people that talk archery and rifle and turkey and waterfowl, and I'm like, is this really what I do for a living?
It is.
Tell me about the veterans. What are the dates for that?
It's the 19th to the 22nd.
Okay.
And go to cabelas.com/whatever store is closest to you. And we have everything from, we're doing some boating safety because it's Boating Safety Month, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of it is, we're doing flag raisings. We're doing benefit barbecues. I'm doing one for Lift for the 22. Which is an organization highlighting, they give free gym memberships to all veterans to kind of highlight that brotherhood. Any store is doing a variety of things, but it's all to honor first responders and veterans.
Very cool.
That is cool.
I heard you guys were at Nevada Train to Hunt. Cabela's was there.
Most likely.
And
Our Reno store, probably.
And Jesse said Cabela's was awesome.
Good.
They are pretty awesome.
They are.
Yeah,
They're pretty awesome. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on down.
Thank you.
Thanks for
hanging
having
out
us.
on the show, and stay gritty.
Thank you for your
Oh,
time.
Thanks for
We'll
your
always
time.
stay gritty.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, gritty friends, I hope you enjoyed that podcast. If you did, please take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher. We love reading your reviews. And connect with us on social media if you're on there. Look us up on Facebook and Instagram, and take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can receive notifications when we upload new videos. We've got a sweet deal with Mountain Ops. You get 20% off on all Mountain Ops supplements, combo packs, and apparel when you type in the word gritty at checkout. If you're a hardcore elk hunter, or you want to be, go to the Elk 101 website online and check them out. Our friend Corey Jacobson is killing it with some of the best elk hunting information and entertainment on the web. If you haven't heard, we're doing a huge gear giveaway to try and grow and expand the gritty community on Facebook and Instagram. I asked a bunch of friends to pitch in on this gear giveaway, and they all came through with some awesome stuff. Our friends at Kifaru, Rockslide, First Light, Phelps Game Calls, One Shot Gear, Mountain Ops, XXX Archery, Blacktail Outdoors, and Is It September Yet are pitching in some sweet gear for the giveaway. We'll announce all the details in the next few weeks. All you have to do to be entered to win is like our Gritty Bowmen Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. All right, friends, let me leave you with one other quote from Theodore Roosevelt, who said, "It behooves every man to remember that the work of the critic is of altogether secondary importance, and that, in the end, progress is accomplished by the man who does things." We all have a choice. We can be people who do things or people who criticize the work of others. It's pretty simple, really. Get out there and do your thing. Good luck on your hunts, and stay gritty.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowmen.
Gritty Bowmen.